Today we continue with our class people's money, and this session and all of them should be dedicated to Rifah Shlema of our dear Rabbi Yaron Reuven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris. Also to Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, Imema Rasi Rachel Bas Brindel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra. Also a quick release of Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina. Hashem. Okay, so we continue with our book Halachos of other people's money. So let me quickly, go and see all of the categories that we listed last time. Okay, so last time we covered the first category, refuse to pay the loan. So stealing by refusing to pay. So different kind of stealing. Next one that we planning to go over today, Bezras Hashem, refuses to pay for merchandise. Next one, refuses to pay the wages, refuses to pay rent, refuses to return a deposit. Okay, so I'm not sure how many we're going to cover today, but we start with refuse to pay them for merchandise. And it's a common occurrence, right? And sometimes this company, they're not going to fight. Right, they're not going to fight, and the people go into this credit card delegations and challenges the payment. Many times it would cost them much more to go into delegations with you. They just let it go most of the time. Okay, so let's see. Number two, refuses to pay for merchandise. One who refuses to pay for merchandise he bought or to return goods he took on consignment is guilty of Oshek. For example, a broker took a diamonds on memo credit, which is sold to retail stores. He used the cash from the sales to pay his overhead and living expenses. When it came time to pay for the diamonds, he decided to close shop. I'm not sure how it's possible. Okay, going out of the business did not absolve him from paying for what he took, nor did it give him the right to keep the diamonds and money that were still in his possession. He was guilty of Oshek. A second. So let's go the whole paragraph and then we come back. Similarly, one who uses his clout to reduce his payables is guilty of Oshek. For example, Hilda, whose firm sold equipment to a large nursing home, was unable to collect one small invoice of the past year. When she confronted the nursing home owner, he told her to forget about it. He intimated that if she wanted his account to remain with her firm, she must stop demanding payments for that invoice. The owner, who absolutely astutely used his clout to prim costs at the expense of his supplier, is guilty of Oshek. Okay, so let's try to understand. I mean, on one hand, it's very clear, but we need to discuss. All right, there is commentary. Okay, so let's see. So refuses to pay for merchandise. So meaning person got something. He's a merchandise, it could be services, okay, but here talking about merchandise, and refused to pay. So for a normal person, you received it. It's not like it's like a defective or something. You received it, you sold it, you used it. Like, how is it possible that you refuses to pay? So that comes from a bad side, of course. Right, it's from Sitra Achra. Okay, so again, one who refuses to pay for merchandise he bought or return goods he took on consignment is guilty of Oshek. So meaning, if a person, I'm not sure today how, maybe some kind of when you buy on credit from the store itself, and they know you, they give you on credit. I guess in the stores, that's my understanding. But even from stores, I think they do like drop shipping. I mean, I'm not sure when they started drop shipping, but I think that's amazing. So a person does not have anything, right? Like just, for example, website, right? And they sell merchandise, and then he passes the invoice. I mean, it's done automatically to the one who has the merchandise, right? And then they send the merchandise. So there is no money involved, basically, right? But maybe in some, I don't know, in some businesses. So I mean, like I think this diamond is a good example, right? But still, they can charge him on a credit card, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's see. If one refuses to pay for merchandise he bought or return goods that took on consignment, he's guilty of Oshek. So meaning they gave him some goods to sell, right? He said, as soon as I sell, I'm going to pay you back, and of course leave the commission, and he did not pay back, right? Or merchandise bought, okay. For example, again, if it's not a big sum, they're not going to take you to court. They would have to hire a lawyer or even go to the small court claims. Still, it's going to take them time. They have to take 1 day off, 2 days off. I don't know how many days off. And are they going to win? Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay. So, for example, broker took diamonds on memo credit. So that's the way I know that they actually do business. I mean, I heard from some people who work in that business, diamond district, right? So they take diamonds, and I'm not sure how's it possible. I mean, they're not described like how they sell it. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a business that's based on trust, the way I understand. Okay, so he take these diamonds to sell and sold to retail stores. So he did sell. Right, they use the cash from sales to pay his overhead and living expenses. I mean, person, as soon as we get money from something, we have to understand this money is not ours. So you have to separate this money, and only then we use for ourselves whatever is remain. So if it's not enough, it's not enough. But we cannot like borrow from somebody without the agreement. So it's 100% stealing. Okay. And same, I guess, same with the tzedakah. So you receive your salary, you have to separate your the master right away because it's not your money. If you're going to delay, guess what? HRI is going to come to you and say, look, maybe you need it, maybe you're going to pay next month double even with premium, but this time you need it. So guess what? That's what it is. But you must be strong and separate it right away because what? Because it's not our money. Okay. When it came to pay the time to pay for the diamonds, he decided to close the shop. So I mean, I think it costs a lot of money to close the shop completely, right? I mean, maybe they were talking about millions of these diamonds, hundred thousands. I don't know, like to close the store completely and move out. I don't know. Going out of the business did not absolve him from paying from what he took. So basically, these people, even some Jews, they have this demented idea just because the government absolved them, just because there is a law in the United States, for example, that if you declare bankruptcy, that's it, you're absolved. No, but in Shemaim, you're not absolved. We don't go by the laws of the government. We go by the laws of the Torah, and according to the laws of the Torah, you still own them. And that's why we always counsel our students to try to work out some deal with these people, whether it's institutions or individual. Don't just say I'm not going to pay because I don't. It's not going to work in Shemaim so well. Right? You have to go to these people and explain to them, this is my situation. I apologize. I this, I that, and right, and try to work out some payment plan. Don't decide I'm not going to pay. Right. And what I heard before, So people are so delusional. I mean, they can lie to themselves, but they cannot lie to Hashem. So they say, yeah, but after they heard what the court says, they accepted the settlements. I told them they did not accept the settlement. They're forced to accept the settlement. When you're forced to do something, it's not your free will. So you have to go and try to work out with these people for them to forgive you. Otherwise, you're not forgiven. Even as we said last time, even if it's entity. So entity meaning it's not individual, but it's public company, right, or partnership. Still not allowed to do that. Okay. So again, going out of the business is not absolve him from paying for what he took, right? And then people open another company. I mean, there are crook like that. Nor did it give him the right to keep the diamonds and money that were still in his possession. So yes, those diamonds he sold and he spent the money, it's understandable. But he has other diamonds as well, right? In this case, we're talking about this case. He has money from sale. It's not his money. He has to return at least this, right? Other things, let's worry later. But right, but at least this, what is on his hand, he has to return. And and he says he's guilty of Oshek, this stealing. Okay, so let's read the commentary. So meaning, if we own somebody, we have to pay. And as we said, I think last time or time before, it's clear rule in the Torah. So a person who borrows money without clear plan how they're going to pay back, like normal plan, not that I'm going to go and buy a lottery ticket and I'm going to win, or maybe my uncle in Canada is going to die and leave me $1 million. How do you know he has million? How do you know he's going to die? He's a good health. He's going to live till 117 or something. How do you know, right? Maybe he's going to spend all his money by then. Right, so that's we have to have clear plan. At least a person goes to work, like a blue collar job, and make some minimal wages, and from this minimal wages, I'm going to pay this and this amount of money. So something realistic. So unless you have this plan, you're not allowed to borrow. It's like a stealing. Even before you start, like even before you default, you're a thief. That's for sure. You should not be in this situation. Okay. So, and if person does not have any way out without borrowing, guess what? Don't borrow. Don't borrow. I don't remember if we published these clips or not, but for sure I recorded them. So if you're in a situation, so basically idea, if you're in a situation with no natural solution to your problem, meaning if you're going to borrow from somebody, you're going to default, would not be able to pay them. So don't borrow. And wait for Hashem salvation. What? Pray with tears. Pray with tears. That's it. But for sure, salvation is not going to come to the thief. Okay. Continue. Regarding accepted merchandise as a corporation, then legally declaring bankruptcy, a competent halakhic authority should be consulted. I mean, right. So again, let's try to understand. So people are trying to hide themselves behind the corporation, right? So it's not me; it's corporation. Like corporation is on your name. You're the CEO or something. What do you mean? It's not you. It is you, right? It's like a corporation made this decision. Yeah, it's corporation. You made your decision, but guess what? You made this decision. Okay. So again, regarding accepting the merchandise as a corporation, then legally declaring bankruptcy, competent halakhic authority should be consulted. The way I understand, in most of the cases, not going to fly so good, right? So I mean, other people are going to lose. Yeah, you go by this name or that name, but real people, living people, are going to lose. Partners, so dealt with this corporation, or another company, the shareholders, so they're going to lose, right? Guess what? He wants to sell his stock. His daughter is getting married, and he was counting that he's going to get this amount. And guess what? Because somebody did not pay, the stock went down, and now he cannot cover the wedding expenses or something. Like I'm just making up the example, but yes, it's against corporation, but like live people are going to suffer for sure. Okay. And right, and the more person is involved in this corrupted society, the more they being corrupted themselves. So we also say to our dear students, you have to work with goyim. There is no problem, but try to not to socialize and not talk about work, whatever you need to do. But do not discuss politics. Do not discuss this and that. Their personal lives for sure. I mean, it's not so simple. So in my office, they would come to me, like sometimes I was like a free counselor. They would come and ask them for advice, family advice, this advice. So I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. So I explained to them, I tried to look, you're not Jew. I don't know about the not Jewish laws, and it is true. I never learned them in details, right? But we try to minimize the contact. Why contact? Because why it's going to affect us. For them, there is no problem. But bankruptcy, everybody knows bankruptcy. They smile. Why smile? That you got away from with the thievery. Okay. Okay. Next one. Similarly, one who used his cloud to reduce his payable is guilty of Oshek. Right, so meaning what? Person said like a little terrorist, right, or a big terrorist. So look, you get enough money, just swallow it. What I mean, this company, the supplier get some percentage, they make some money. Well, so what? They cannot make money. That's it. Only you can make money. That's it. Right, so and I saw it many times in my office, right? Since I said all the salespeople they forgot the manners. They would speak on speakerphone, so you can hear what's going on, right? So and how the customers sometimes would squeeze them, right? Not to pay for some things. Okay, so here we go. For example, Hilda, whose firm sold equipment to a large nursing home. Okay, so she's a firm, like she's a salesperson, right? Was unable to collect. She's the owner, right? She was unable to collect the small invoice of past year. Okay, so small. I mean, it doesn't matter. As we said, if it's more than a pruta worth is something like a currency of the country that you can buy something. So that's it. It's a thievery. So whatever is it. So this small invoice, it's not like 15 cents or something. It was for sure much more than that. For sure, it's stealing. When she confronted the nursing home owner, he told her to forget about it. So leave me alone, basically. And we had this with our students also that the employer just brush them off. And person saying, no, but they're religious. How come? And there are other religious people in the company, and I'm not going to ask. It's so embarrassing. I said, no, I told them you have to ask. You have to ask. Just because there are other religious people in the company does not mean they have to fight for you. Right? Of course, it says in the book, Halachos that if you're a good person, they're going to fight for you. But not in this case. People are afraid of their own jobs, right? Why they should go fight in the boss? They don't know who is right, who is wrong, whether you deserve this money, not deserve. So you have to confront the boss, right, and talk to them. Okay, he's religious. Maybe not so much. Maybe from external. Maybe yes, maybe not. Sometimes, like people tell you the story, you don't know if they tell the truth or maybe they make up this details. You don't know. Okay, but we assume that they do say the truth. Okay. So this boss from nursing home said, just forget about it. I'm not going to pay. Have enough business from me. Like, what else do you want? He intimated that if she wanted his account to remain with her firm, right? She must stop the minute payments for that invoice. So some people they go in principle, right? I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay. That's enough. You get in enough. Okay. The owner who astutely used his clout to trim the cost of the expenses of his supplier is guilty of Oshek. So we're going to back to definition of stealing, right? The definition of stealing is when you take something without person's permission. So now this lady, she was forced to swallow the expenses, right? So she would somebody took her money, right? Meaning that they did not pay what they owe her, meaning in a sense took from her, right? And she cannot take it back, right? Why? Because she's afraid to lose the account, right? But did she agree to have this money be forgotten? No, she did not. So 100% stealing. So people do not know what they're doing. And as I just said to our dear student, said, look, this life is very short. To play with eternity is not worth it. Okay. So hopefully he's going to listen to me. This is Hashem. Okay. So number 3. So refuses to pay wages. So, and this again, unfortunately, especially in the smaller firms. Like if you some people prefer to work for a bigger firm. So I all my life I worked for a bigger firm. So I did not know this problem. They don't know they care about the name. They have right. So it's very important to them. They're not going to cheat somebody. But smaller firm, when boss is actually underwriting the checks, that's the worst. Okay, so sometimes he decided not to pay. She decided not to pay. Why? Because they need money. And there were several occasions that we encountered when a person, the boss said, "I'm not going to pay you for the first 2 months. I'm going to use it as a deposit, so you not just pick up and leave." And the person, first of all, they did not understand. I'm not sure how they, but let's say they could they misunderstood, and they agreed. So okay, I already invested months, so I can borrow from somebody another for money for another month, survive somehow, and then from the 3rd month I'm going to get paid. So meaning that this boss hold them hostages, right? So. Very interesting. Are you allowed to do that? Absolutely not. I mean, if they agree 100%, maybe yes. Right? If employee sign a paper, I agree that you're going to keep 2 months my salary as deposit. There is no problem. I'm not sure how it's legally according to United States laws. I'm not sure. Different countries. I'm not sure. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. Okay. So, but it's big topic. Refusing to pay wages. If the employer refuses to pay worker wages, in addition to transgressing the Torah prohibition bal tolin, the employer also guilty of Oshek. Okay. For example, one who wishes to close down an unprofitable operation, and informs the employees that the business has no funds to pay the last payroll. Although the employer might feel that he has lost far more than the employees, nevertheless, by refusing to pay their wages, he is guilty of Oshek. Okay. So let's do from the beginning. I mean, it's very unusual example, but maybe it's a very good example, right? So we're going to explain. So again. If the employer refused to pay worker wages, right, in addition to transgressing prohibition of bal talin, he also guilty of Oshek. So commentary: the prohibition is not paying the worker, is not paying the service provider their wages or fees when due. Is discussed detailed chapter 2. So we're in chapter 1, I think. Right, chapter 2. So meaning what? It's actually, I think it's one of, if I remember correctly, it's one of the 613 commandments. So not only we must pay this worker, right, for what they did, but also pay on time. And there are many examples in Gemara as Gemara sees, bring the example, the crazy example, as what is that? Rachi, I don't remember, like some of the great sages, right? And he hired workers to carry a barrel of wine somewhere. I'm not sure they were carrying on the donkeys or like by hand. I don't exactly remember. And guess what? They broke the barrel. They broke the barrel. And right, and and he came. He got very, very angry, and he said, "Look, what can we do? We work very hard, but it broke. What can we do? But can you please feed us? We work, like as you promised." And he got so upset. Right, he said, "No, I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to do this and that." And he went to court, and his rabbi said, "Look, you have to pay them." So what? They broke they were negligent. They went and said they were negligent. He said, "Yeah, according to your level, right? Yes, you have to pay. You have to pay for their work. Yes, they." Did a lot of the damage to you, right? And but you still have to pay. And then these workers came. They say, "Thank you very much, Rabbi, but please ask him to feed us, to pay for our lunch." So this rabbi went crazy. I have to even pay for your lunch, and the court said, "Yeah, you have to pay for the lunch." Of course, it's maybe not halacha for simple people, but people on greater spiritual level, for sure. You understand? So we have to pay them, and remember that Hashem is running the world. And again, it's not allowed to be in that category when we're not paying on time. Of course, it's according to halacha. If they were negligent and you ask them, I don't know, to paint the wall, and the whole roof collapsed because they decided to do whatever they did, of course they have to pay. That's obvious. But before decided was obvious was not, you have to talk to halachic authority. Okay, continue. For example, one wishes to close down the unprofitable operation and inform the employees that the business has no funds to pay the last payroll. I see. I mean, if you tell them in advance, I think there is no problem. If they want to stay anyway, they can. If not, they can leave. But today, the way I understand, it worked sometimes. So that's why I heard. If they decide to quit themselves, they're not going to get unemployment. But if this person work, for example, in another month without paying them, and he let them go, right, because they closed down the business, then they're going to get unemployment. So in a sense, I'm not suggesting anything, but in a sense, these people would agree to stay another month, right, without payment, because they want the unemployment, right? But if they quit, he told them, look, thank you very much. Today's 27th. For the next month, I don't have money. I'm sorry. So you want to stay? Stay. You don't want to stay? Here's the door. Right. I pay you for 3 weeks of this month. I apologize. So that's what it is. Right. It's up to you. So it's not so simple. Up to you. Understand? So some people, the way I understand, they would stay in order to get the unemployment, or if they have another job, who needs unemployment, they switch the jobs. Right. Okay. So, although although the employer might feel that he has lost far more than the employee, right? Nevertheless, by refusing to pay the wages, he is guilty of the Oshek. So here it's not about a calculation who is going to win more or lose more. It's not about that. It's about being honest and live according to the Torah. Torah said you have to pay, you have to pay. Hashem said that he's going to provide whatever he promised on Rosh Hashanah, he's going to provide. Why do you worry? They lost more, they lost less. Who cares about it? So that's the problem. People are very right. They try to see they try to see what other people have. Okay. Regarding the refusing to pay the wages because of the bankruptcy, the competent halachic authority should be consulted. So again, just because government like a government law says there is no problem, does not mean the Torah would say the same. So we can quickly check. Okay, so let's do maybe one more. And says refuses to pay rent. So that's also very, very popular, especially in the cities when where you have this democratic government, right? So they lefty liberal. They try to suck the everything possible from the landlords and give everything to this like supposedly poor people, lazy bums, some of them, who trying to avoid paying the rent. And sometimes, right, you go to court, you file all of the papers, and you write, and they owe you money, and they say, and the judge say, let them stay for 6 months. Like, whoa, what is it to you? And guess what? When you pay in a mortgage, and you pay insurance, and you have to provide, like, for you, this 6 months free, it's like choking you. It's not so simple, right? Just because they're rich, or, for example, they don't have mortgage. Well, what do you care? Like, even if they have millions, what do you care? We're not allowed to steal from rich people, right? It's not our money. You have rent, you have to pay. You don't have money to pay rent, of course, as we discussed before. So you have to make some arrangement. Go to your landlord, explain to them, I apologize, here's the situation, but I'd like to create some payment plans. So even though I'm going to move out, I'm going to send you, let's say, $150 or $50, $35, $27, whatever it is, every month. So I apologize, but that's what I'm going to do. Right. No problem. Or if they decide, oh, look, you've been such a good tenant for past 10 years, you pay so much, and you also pay the apartment, and you replace refrigerator and stove, just go, don't worry about this. Okay, so then if you say so, there's no problem. But we cannot decide just not to pay. Okay, very, very, very important. We had many cases with this from the landlords, my tenants. Not so simple. Continue. So refuses to pay rent. If one refuses to pay rent for real estate or for equipment he rented, right, he is guilty of Oshek. For example, storekeeper who was unsuccessful in particular neighborhood moved his store and withheld payment from a final month's rent. He reasoned that since the facilities were terrible and the building manager was obnoxious, he would not to pay. I'm not sure what is the connection. Furthermore, he felt that the landlord would be unwilling to extend the time, expend the time and expenses to bring him to court for a small amount owed. After a number of the calls and threats, the landlord gave up and wrote off the loss. The tenant was victorious in his final skirmish, right? But was guilty of Oshek. So that's very, very sad for this tenant. But let's try to explain again from the beginning. There are commentaries and we'll explain. Bezos Hashem. If one refuses to pay rent for real estate over equipment, some people take something like rent equipment, they have to pay. Right? He rented the guilty of Oshek, or somebody take a car, lease the car, right? And they stop paying. Okay, so if you cannot pay, just return the car. So you did not pay for 3 months. Guess what? You did not pay for 3 months. That's it. So right, that's a different story. But you cannot just refuse to pay. Okay. In addition to the prohibition of stealing, delaying rent payment can result in transgression of Torah commanded Bal Talin. So Bal Talin is delaying. So not to pay is one thing, right? It's Oshek, and not to pay on time is Bal Talin. So I'm not sure, every second or so, a person has somebody else's money, right, without agreement with the other side. He's in violation of this commandment. Okay. For example, a storekeeper who was unsuccessful in particular neighborhood moved his store, right, and withheld payment for the final month's rent. I mean, usually there is a deposit, but let's say it was one month's deposit, and he said, I'm going to leave with deposit, I don't know, whatever they say, and they moved out. Okay, no problem. So maybe he did not pay for the last 2 months, and he said, you use this as a deposit, and for last month, he did not pay for sure. Right. So now he did not pay because he thinks, right, because it's a bad neighborhood, and how could they charge me? And they say it's good business, this and that, and they lied to me. All these people start, like, when they want to excuse themselves, they have so, like, they become so creative. I was like astonished many times. Like, you see that's what you think, right? Right, so he moved the store, right. He reasoned that since the facilities were terrible, like how, like, why did he stay until now, right? The facilities were terrible, and the building manager was obnoxious. So, yes, he is obnoxious. What does have to do with paying the rent? So if you don't want to stay, don't stay there. Right? But do not say I'm not going to pay the last months because the building manager was obnoxious. Well, it has to do with the owner. Right, so he would not pay. It's very, like, people, like, they try to excuse themselves, but I always tell these people, look, I hear you. Whatever we say, people were very emotional, right? Very sensitive. So I say, I hear you, but maybe in Shemaim it's not going to work out. I'm just telling you the bottom line. Whatever you said, I understand you. I understand you where you're coming from, and they're bad, and they're thieves, and they're crooks, and they don't pay this, and how do you know? But okay, let's say you do, but still, you cannot steal from them, right? They provide you, they give you this space. You have to pay for that. Yeah. Furthermore, he felt the landlord would be unwilling to expend the time and expenses to bring him to court for the small amount like that. So a landlord, maybe he's not going to go, or he's going to go with a lawyer. And guess what? To file, the lawyer is going to charge this and that. So meaning if he's going to win, like, after all of the lawyer expenses and marshals and this and that, so they're going to get $300 for him. So they say, for $300 all these days, like all the headaches, let it be, right? So, okay. So, and that's what many people count on. After numbers of calls, right, and threats, the landlord gave up and wrote off his loss. So, I mean, they can demand only so much, and then they understand they're not going to get it back. Okay. The tenant was victorious in a final skirmish, right? So meaning that, they left me alone. So they agreed that I'm not going to pay, because they know that they're crooks. They did not agree with you, and they do not know they're crooks, and they being crooks has nothing to do with you. So I always try to explain the person, like, all of these personal relationships, it's meaningless, right? You occupy the space. You have to pay for it. That's it. That's the bottom line. They yell at you. They disrespect you. That's a different story. So, like, it does not mean that you're allowed not to pay. Understand? So, right. But still, this as he's finishing this topic, he's guilty of Oshek, meaning this tenant is a thief, and he's going to be punished very severely in Shemaim. So who needs that? Right, let's take 5 minutes break, and we continue with other topics after the break. 5 minutes.